Here are our thoughts on the Ghibli Park versus the Ghibli Museum, how to get tickets, what did we like the most, is it worth it? Let's get into it.
Okay, so we ended up choosing to do both the Ghibli Park and the Ghibli Museum on our trip because we are really big Ghibli fans. Ghibli?
Ghibli. I don't know.
I'm gonna call it Ghibli. We are big Ghibli fans, so we wanted to obviously try to get tickets for both, especially since when I went the first time, which was like 10 years ago, I did not figure this out in time to get tickets for the museum, so I definitely wanted to see it this time. And with the new park that opened, it was obvious that we should also try to get tickets for those. I'm curious to hear what your experience is after having been both places and which one did you prefer or would recommend.
Okay, I think I'm gonna be very honest, and I think that I would go to Ghibli Park over the Ghibli Museum.
Ghibli Park.
Yeah.
Ghibli Park.
Sorry, in Spanish we say it's Studio Ghibli.
Take two.
I just think that I preferred...
The park.
I preferred the park. I enjoyed the park more. It had a lot more things to see. We went to the park 2 days because I know that the ticket system now works different, so you can do everything in the same day. But when we went, you had to book time slots for each little area, so we couldn't do all the areas in one day, basically.
Yeah.
But in the warehouse, I enjoyed the warehouse a lot. And the museum was super cool because the space itself, like the building, is really cool. But the exhibitions didn't really give me much. Which one did you prefer?
I'd say I agree with overall, I like the park more. I think there was more to dive into. It was bigger, there was just more interesting stuff. The museum was like a cool location, but it was very quick to see everything. And I feel like there was not that much to do outside of a few exhibitions and just the general vibe of it, which was cool. But yeah, what I did not like with the park, to start with that, was also what you talked about a little bit, like the timings and individual tickets.
So how it works now, I'm just gonna say it now before we keep going, is that the tickets for the park, you can get a ticket that is just to see the main areas, including the warehouse, or a ticket that includes also the buildings. So you go to Totoro area, but you don't get to go into the house of the movie.
Okay.
But you get access to the rest. And then you can get one where the buildings are included, so you can go inside of Totoro's house, inside of like the whole moving castle. When we went there, Valley of Witches was still under construction, so we sadly don't have an opinion on that, but it looked amazing. The building, how would they call it?
Valley of Witches?
They're building it right now, and you can see from here that they've recreated House Moving Castle, and I'm dying, and it's not open yet, but we're gonna go see what we can see from the outside. It looks like this right now. You can see a little sneak of what's gonna be House Moving Castle, and it looks so pretty. But anyway, how it works now is that you get a ticket and you have free entrance to everything, and you get a time slot for the warehouse. Because that's what gets probably most busy. So you only get a time for the warehouse.
Also, okay.
I think. So from our experience, I think maybe we can go with that. Because like if you need to time how much you want to see before the warehouse, for example, I think that in Mononoke Village we were there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and we stretched it.
We stretched it a lot because we did the activity and like we took a lot of photos. But they even recommended us half an hour. Like you can see it in half an hour. An hour tops.
Here's an Ada in her natural habitat.
There's actually a little part that you can see without buying tickets.
Honestly, you can almost walk to the fence and just look in and you see
but now if you get the ticket, you get everything now, so it doesn't really... I've heard that the Valley of Witches is amazing, so probably I would count for like, without having seen it, I would say it's gonna take 2 hours, like in our pace. If we take photos of everything and make sure we see everything, like we would probably spend some time. Yeah. And then in the how was it called? The Totoro area?
The Dondoko.
Dondoko forest. The Tombori, that's
I think that's something else.
Yeah, a street food alley or something.
Yes.
The Dondoko forest, the Totoro area.
An hour, something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely say like look into beforehand what areas you're more interested in and prioritize that. And just make sure that you plan for that and then see if you can make the rest as well. But
yeah, I think that's a good call. Then the Dondoko Forest, an hour and a half if you want to walk up to the Totoro statue, which is for kids, but it's cool. It's a massive Totoro thing. And then, well, there's the other area that I'm gonna put right here, and we didn't really see that.
Yeah,
from
we
the
actually
inside.
we ended up skipping on the last area we had to
We
see,
didn't have
the
time.
antique shop from Whispers of the Heart.
Yeah.
Right? Just because we had spent so much time in Ghibli Park at that point, and we also wanted to spend some time seeing Nagoya, and we chose to
Skip
prioritize
that.
that. So
Yeah, but I would say probably it's about the same.
yeah.
And then there's the warehouse, and you need to account for time for that, because we spent there most of our day. I think our ticket entrance was at 12, if I don't remember wrong.
And we were the last people to
Yes,
walk
we were
out.
there until they closed, and I still feel like we missed areas, to be honest, because we rushed through an area at the very end. So
Yeah, if you really want to do everything in there, you can spend most of the day
3-4 hours.
with that.
There's a lot to see in the warehouse, and I think that maybe it would be interesting to go over like what's there, because I think that more than park versus museum, it's a bit more like the warehouse versus the museum.
Exactly.
Like those two areas are what compare the best. In the warehouse we had a lot of things. There was a really cool exhibition about food, which I love. There was the cat bus, photo opportunities. There is like a whole
pretty big area with photo opportunities from most of the movies. With
there
big
was a queue
figures.
there, long queue throughout the whole day.
This is the queue. It starts here, it goes all the way there, it crosses there, then it goes around and around.
We waited to see if it would die a bit and like
There was
have less
queues
people
all up until the end, basically.
all day.
And then there's photo opportunities scattered around. There's like dioramas and little alleys from Spirited Away and little shops snuck in here and there.
Yeah. There's the
lot of
whole
stuff.
recreation of Arieti's world. That was super cool, and that's like not an exhibition, so it just opened there, and that was really well done. And then you obviously, like, we saw the short film, we got the Totoro universe short
and
film.
you also need time for the shop at the end.
Yes, the shop is not very big and it's crowded. It was so busy, but that's where we got the posters you're seeing here, and we wanted to buy this big Totoro plushie, and we thought that it was too heavy to carry, and we were like, oh, we'll find it in the museum. Wrong. The Ghibli store at the museum is way smaller and it has less things.
Yes, yeah, the
We
store at the
could
museum.
not find that Totoro again. So if you want
I
to
regretted
shop,
not buying it.
yes, if you see something you like, buy it, because none of the other Ghibli stores, even though there's a lot around Tokyo,
They
the
might
same
have
stuff.
some of the same things, but
Not everything.
not
Yeah.
everything. So
That's the biggest Ghibli store we saw. The
Yes.
one at the park. So go nuts. What else? Food is not great. The sandwiches they had were the weirdest things ever.
yes.
And I've heard now that there's also a cafe in the Valley of Witches, so maybe that's a better,
Yeah, but not a
Place.
very crazy dining experience
not at
at
all.
the park. But I mean, it's
But you
not
get a
what you go
little-
there for.
No.
So
but you're
it's-
there all
it's
day,
fine.
so
But I think they had a sandwich with spaghetti inside.
yeah, it was weird.
It's
It was
very,
weird.
very weird.
But you get a little flag with a random movie on.
Yeah.
That's the only cool thing if you like to collect this kind of stuff. But the food wasn't amazing.
And then you get a random little flag. The bar didn't look amazing.
It's just that the whole decoration, the area, the warehouse is really big. It has like these massive stairs and like the sheep falling, like the sheep hanging from the ceiling. They have a lot of things, and then there's also a room for the kids. That's the cat something, the cat. I don't remember how it was called. I think that there's a lot of details. It's very curated on everything that is, and there's photo opportunities absolutely everywhere. But aside from photo opportunities, there was quality. Like, I enjoyed seeing the things, not just going to take a photo. Like, all the other things were also really cool to see.
And a tip for the photo exhibitions that are spread around, just wait until the end of the day before you go out and do it there. There's basically no queue at all, and we got to them immediately, whereas any time else in the day there would be a long queue. But like, just wait for the end and just go and do them all.
Yeah, the ones that are like around the area, not in
not
the
the big exhibition, but the ones that are spread around, like the robot from
Castle in the Sky.
Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, and then let's move on to the museum. Maybe how was the museum compared to this, right?
Yeah.
It's in Tokyo and it's a smaller space. Start there. It's really nice. It's a really nice walk from the train to the museum, because you walk through a park, and that was really, really beautiful. And we went in the morning to pick up this Totoro cream puff pastries that
to
I had
get in the
seen.
mood.
Yeah. And just grabbing that and a coffee and sitting at a bench in the park, that was really, really pretty. The shop was extremely tiny and there was a little queue where we arrived 10 minutes before it opened. So we got raspberry and cream here, and this little boy is chestnut. I would honestly recommend just taking a stroll there and like just enjoy the park as well, because that was really nice. And then the museum itself, you get the time entrance, and queues form at the exact time you need to enter, but you can go a bit later, like you have a little time to go in. When we arrived, there was no one.
Yeah.
And then you cannot film or take photos of anything at all inside the
inside,
museum.
you can
nothing.
take your phone away. So.
Yes, you can do nothing. And there were like exhibitions basically. There was one that was cool, or I enjoyed a lot, the one where was the room full of storyboards, and that was really cool, but it's also a smaller space, so people like pile a lot more into the exhibition rooms. There was a room about animation basically, and that's really cool, but I think that we are really interested in this kind of thing, so it's something we have seen many times before, I would say.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything shocking. And you also have the, how is it called, the frames, the spinning.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called, but
yeah, it's also in Disneyland. They have that as well.
Yeah, where it spins up super fast and flashes the light, and it looks
then
like
you see the
an
animation.
And then there was a Boy and the Heron exhibition as well, but it was interesting, but there was not that much, that
it was
many
the storyboards.
storyboards, and you saw it just quite fast for like the amount of space that it actually took up in the museum. I feel like there wasn't that much.
It was a whole room with all the frames of the whole movie. Plus, we hadn't seen the movie yet, so we didn't want to really
spoil
look through the whole thing. And then there was a library room for kids, it said, and the cinema.
So for the movies, it's interesting how they do it, because I think they have a rotation of, I don't know, maybe like 6 different short films or something like that, that rotates. So I guess that's some incentive to visit multiple times. So the film that we got to see was one that was really, really cool, and I think maybe from what we know, one of the more interesting ones that they show from the universe of Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah. Poster is here, and title, I forgot. But really cool, like original piece that we didn't really expect, and it's very, very well made.
Plus, like they had merch from the short film, which was really cool, because we bought a little
key hanger thing.
With one of the characters from the short film, because we loved the short film so much. And then the store
was not huge. Still had some interesting stuff. I think for me personally, just a side note, that from the stores that I was kind of looking for was some really nice figures from the movies, good quality figures in a good size, and there wasn't really anything of that at all, which I was a bit disappointed by. And then there's a little rooftop with the robot guard from Castle in the Sky, which we had already seen at the park, because we went to the park before we went to the museum, so we had already seen it on the park. Plus in Takayama, in Hida Furukawa, we also found the robot in the middle of the street, so we had 2 photos already with it. All the robots we found. Thank you for giving me more. Yes, I see. It took us 2.5 hours to see the whole thing. There's about 3 exhibition rooms, so I think that's probably the 2 hours between groups, because I think that the tickets are at 10, 12 and 2. Yeah. So I think those 2 hours is pretty much what you need to see it, but like you can always spend more. There was a cafe, which was the Straw Hat Cafe, I think it was called, and that was pretty. The food was fine, better than the park. Yeah, it was better than the park. Yeah. No spaghetti. And then there's a little bit of the outdoor area. So yeah, I think that also because we were coming from the park, some of the outdoor things weren't as interesting compared to what we had seen. Important things about both park and museum. Of course, the museum is in Tokyo and the park is in Nagoya. So it depends a lot on your route, if you can manage to see both things, and mostly if you can manage to stop at Nagoya to see the park. To go to the park, it's about half an hour ride with the train, I believe, from Nagoya. It wasn't difficult at all. You just go to the train, and like the station was even like full on like Ghibli Park, and can't really go wrong. But and the train you do need to switch to a different train. Yeah, that takes you straight to the park. Yeah. And then you get to the entrance. We made it to the Ghibli Park. This is the station up there.
It felt like going to a theme park, just
Yeah.
Ghibli. So that was really cool.
Ghibli Land.
But it is really easy to get there, and same with the museum. It's just probably a JR line to the museum, and then you walk a little bit because it's a bit farther out, and you walk through the park, which is also really pretty. So locations are pretty good both ways. But of course, like for the park, you need to travel out of Tokyo, which might not be in your plans.
So, how did we get the tickets?
That's a good thing. I believe the system has changed a little bit now, so I will make sure to double check the information. But tickets for the park come out 2 months before the month. How do I say that? For the Ghibli Park, they come out 2 months in advance, but on the 10th of every month. So we just check now, and like, for example, tickets for November would go on sale September 10th.
Yes.
And you need to check because it's 2 p.m. Japan time. So in our case, it was in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you need to be there if you want tickets. And then the system works the same for both things, but for the museum, the tickets go on sale 1 month before. So for November, they would come out on sale on October 10th. So you need to be aware of the date and the time for your time zone and be ready. Because how do you
especially
get
if you
tickets?
plan your trip to Nagoya and accommodation and everything
need
before
to
that,
make sure,
you need
yeah.
to make sure you also get the tickets for
Yeah.
the park.
I gotta say that we didn't have problems with getting them, but maybe explain how.
So we basically have to get up and get ready there, and the way it works is that you just get put into the queue.
Half an hour before the time, you can already join the queue, but no matter how early you join the queue, because you get a random
Yeah, you
position.
will get a random position. So basically, you can be lucky and be maybe number 200 in the queue or something like that, or you can be unlucky and be number 15,000
Yeah.
in the queue. It's completely random, and if you're at the bad number, you might risk not getting your ticket.
148, 400 position, another one here, phone, another one.
Because basically everyone who wants tickets for that month will be
The whole
ready at
month, yeah.
that point. So it's a lot of people getting ready
Yeah.
to snap up the tickets. But you can increase your chances by simply just using more devices, use more computers, use more phones. I think we had 6 different devices.
As you can see, this is a very easy operation. You just need to go to the website, have 6 computers running, and
Yeah, I
then
forgot
you
to
get
show
a chance.
the iPad.
If we only used one device, we could have missed it. And I have friends that have tried to get tickets this way as well, that only used one device, that missed out on their tickets
Yeah.
because of that.
October, November. Yeah, select.
Village, like.
That's it?
That's it.
I think we were lucky as well, and once we got in, like, it was not a problem at all to choose the day and the times that we wanted. Like, we were super lucky with that, but of course we were really prepared for it. And like, it's not important how early you get there, just that you get there before the actual time. Like, you cannot refresh, you just need to stay there and wait. And once the queues, like once it reaches like 2 p.m, it like puts you in the random position.
Leave
Like,
the other devices like running as well,
Just in case.
that you misclick, or if it's in Japanese and the card doesn't work or anything like that. So you have a
another-
backup
yeah,
in
option.
case the first one doesn't work.
So we did it like that, and I think that information-wise, do you remember what they needed?
They need the address of the hotel that you're staying at or something like that, or the phone number for that.
Yeah.
So just make sure to prepare that beforehand, because if you need to put a Japanese address, it might be tricky if you're not prepared to. But once you have your tickets, then that's it. Set alarms, make sure that you are ready at
The
the
time.
crack of dawn to get them.
How do I recap this? There's a lot of information we talked
Yeah.
about.
So to recap, between the museum and the park, we probably preferred overall the park experience, but would definitely also recommend the museum.
Yeah.
If you're a Ghibli fan, you will enjoy both, and they have different things to see. And
If you have the chance to go to Nagoya, definitely check out the park. If you are only staying in Tokyo, definitely don't miss out on the museum.
yeah, exactly. And at least when we were going, the prices were very
Affordable.
Actually, the difficult part was just getting the tickets, but the prices itself was quite cheap. You have to get your tickets once they get on sale at the exact moment. Otherwise, you will not get your ticket for
No.
that month. It will not happen.
They sell out all the
Yeah.
time. Like
If
it,
you
it
do not
happens
get
that
it
they sell out.
immediately, that's it. They will sell out.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are on top of that. And yeah, I think
And enjoy.
enjoy.
Yeah. Here's everything you should know. Here's everything we learned. Here's how.
Here's our experience.
Where do we start?